Okay, so we are probably. Let me check it one more time. Yeah, we are live. Okay, so hello everybody. This is an engineering sync of Near, and we are going to start with the Rainbow Bridge team sync. Yeah, let's go. And I'm going to share my screen. Give me just a second. So many. Oh gosh. So I have so many windows opened. Okay, do you see my screen?
Yeah.
Are you able to see it? Okay, so let's start the update. So Alex Kidanov is not here, so I'm going to do the short status update and share our current goals. So the upgradable version of the bridge was deployed in the mainnet on 11th of December, so in the end of the last week. And Marcel, thank you very much for this. That's a great achievement, though it's not the well, we are going to discuss the upgradability. Yeah. So the testnet bridge, and this is my question to you, Marcelo, whether it was run already on the testnet or not.
Yeah, I'm finishing the testnet bridge and Rinkeby is almost deployed by now.
Okay.
I'm using the nodes deployed by Mario, and
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Let's save this for later. So testnet bridge is not yet there. My personal focus, and I think the focus of the whole team, is to update the docs before Christmas on the bridge, so we would be able to give to our beta testing community some docs that they can use to test over the Christmas holidays the bridge that is on the mainnet. Bridge 2.0 is under development as far as I know, so nothing has changed here except that Evgeny is moving on with the development. And we still have our plans for upgrading, doing the first official upgrade of the bridge on the January 15th, in about a month from now. And this is going to be an updated version of the upgradability with the time lock-in mechanism that will allow users to withdraw funds in case they are not agreeing with the upgrade of the bridge. And hopefully this upgrade will actually include include another thing, which is constant bridge address. But let's discuss this in a while. So I can start with myself with what I was doing during this week. So I was trying actually to go step by step with the bridge and do the bridging transactions all manually. So I'm not using the magic script that we have. Unfortunately, I figured out I'm not a very profound Ethereum developer, and I can say that near CLI experience is much better than Ethereum than sending Ethereum transactions. So kudos a lot to you on this. So, though your CLI is not yet there, but the current version of the CLI is also pretty good at the moment.
Yeah, I just
So
want to make sure that we properly reward people. It's not my implementation, but Vlad Grichina is working on the CLI of the current version of JS.
yeah, okay, but you also did some parts of it, yeah.
Sort of, but very, very little. Most of
Yeah, okay.
that is Vlad Grichina.
Yeah, so I was trying to do the manual transfers over the bridge, and yeah, I'm just stuck in the middle right now. So we still need to finalize this. Was working a little bit on the roadmap. So I was cleaning up the things that we have in the milestones. So if you will go to the to the Airtable. I'm going to post the link here in the discussion. And you will be able to see lots of information there. So I clean it up a little bit. So I'm preparing for the big discussions on the OKRs for the next quarter. Yeah, well, I reviewed once again the design of the front end of the bridge, and I had earlier today a call with Chad on this, and Chad can update us on this in detail. So in general, the design is more or less ready, and we would be able to start the development, the implementation of the design into the current version of the bridge. So that is my main updates here. Marcela, can you update us?
Yeah, I was last week it was deployed the upgradable bridge on mainnet, but for that we're using outdated versions of our CLI with our outdated structure of the repository. Right, this week I was using the new version to deploy bridge and testnet both Rinkeby and Ropsten. So far, I'm blocked on Ropsten because I need some tokens, and the faucets I found were not working. But the bridge is almost completely deployed on Rinkeby. I should finish like an hour after we finish this call. And I also
and what about Ropsten once again? So are you deploying 2 bridges on the testnet? Is this correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
and they are all
Go ahead.
and they are all like they are not yet finished, but they are in process. Yeah.
Rinkeby is almost finished. Ropsten I'm blocked because I need some ETH Ropsten tokens, which I have not been able to get because none of the faucets I have tried works. I need more exploration on this. It should be doable. Probably we need a market for testnet tokens. So yeah, and I also
can search for them in Uniswap.
Yeah, well, yeah, we can have it in when the bridge is done, but we need it earlier.
Yeah.
And I implemented the test for upgradability with some mock change on the contract. The test is already being stressed on NightDoc. I will talk with Alex Kuprin to have this test being triggered on every update on the bridge here on our CI. So yeah, that's right now it is triggered in nightly periodically, but it would be good probably to have it on our CI by default.
Okay. That's great. Great to hear all of these updates. Chad, can you tell us some news on the front end side?
Sure. As you just mentioned, we had a meeting this morning to talk about kind of timeline and goals for January 15th. We want to have a version of the initial version of the mainnet bridge front end deployed by then. So you will be able to send ERC20 tokens across and have them show up as NEP21 tokens in Near, and send those bridged NEP21 tokens back across to Ethereum and unlock your original ERC20. There's some work to be done implementing the designs that Corwin came up with, which are beautiful. So we're going to work on getting those. Probably have a contractor or bounty to someone who can take care of that over the next couple weeks. While I continue working on actually getting those bridged NEP21 tokens back to Ethereum. And the other piece is making sure that if you log in on a mobile device, that all of your transfers show up and that you can continue continue your transfer across devices. So that is in the works. Sorry for the background noise. And yeah, I think with some legwork over the next couple of days, we can be in a good spot to get all of that wrapped up by January 15th.
Okay, that's great. That's great. With regards to the discussion, so Evgeny Kapun, hi, Evgeny. How are you doing? What's on your side?
So I am still working on the proof generator testing. So I think that like most of the test already works. So I've only made part that gets event information from near chain and stores it in a database and generates proof based on that. I still can't use it on real near node because I need the RPC API to get receipts. But I think once it's done, I also have this part of code, but afterwards I need to do a lot of other code like Ethereum contracts and so on.
Okay, and the issue that you're mentioning about the near RPC, is that the same one from the previous week?
Yes, so I sent that link to this issue. So this issue was initially a bit different, but later it was like changed. So this was, I think, a few months ago already to actually mean to implement RPC. So what I need RPC method to get a receipt by its ID, and by receipt I mean the list of actions, not the outcome.
Luckily for everybody who's watching us, only yesterday I understood what is the list of actions of the receipt, and you also can do that by looking into the series of videos that Max has started about the runtime in Near. So yeah, okay, that's great.
Can you link it somewhere?
I can link it. Yeah, link to the runtime videos. Really nice discussions there. So enjoy. Now, I would like to discuss several things. Well, first of all, so Marcelo, I wanted to ask you: is this correct that an upgrade of our bridge will cause the change of the bridge address at the moment? So if there are some companies that are using our address in their front end or in their smart contracts, they would need to update this too.
No, it won't. Like after the last update, it won't change anymore. It should not change.
And what
at least not on Near, yeah, not in Ethereum either.
On Near, I think now we can make upgrades without changing the address, because we just have full access keys. We can use them to redeploy to deploy any changes that we want, but we don't have anything like that for Ethereum yet. And also we probably will change API at some point, both on Near and on Ethereum. So front ends and other users will need to update anyway. So it's not just the address that front ends and such depend on.
Sure. Are you talking about the second version of the bridge that you're working on, or you're talking about the updates of the first version of the bridge?
No matter which way we choose, the current address of Ethereum contracts will have to be changed, because the current code doesn't support upgrading without changing the address.
Yeah, okay. Do we have a plans for the 15th of January release to hide the Ethereum part under the proxy so the address will not be changed?
I don't know if it makes much sense if API is going to change anyway, because if API changes, that any code that uses it will need to be upgraded, and in this case it's easy to change the address as well.
Yeah, but if there are some updates that are not concerning the interface. Okay, so let's I'm going to put here an action point to make a decision on this. Okay.
I think January 15th is too early. I think we instead would better have some time on testing and like
Of the new version of
with
the upgradability, yeah.
of everything, of the current code, of the new code. Like, I don't think we will benefit much from rushing to upgrade as quickly as possible.
Okay, sure. Okay, that's great. Now, the second thing that I wanted to discuss is the actual monitoring of the existing bridge instances and creating of a book of the deployments, because this is something that was mentioned on the previous calls. Mario, as far as or no Mario, Marcella, as far as I know, you seem to be working with Alex Kidanov on this. Is this correct or not? The
Well,
book, I mean, the book of deployments.
No, I haven't been working in the book of deployment.
Okay. So maybe we need to. I'm going then to ask Alex Kidanov.
Probably I'm better suited for write that, because I just deployed with the new version the bridge on the main on testnets, on both testnets. So I can try to write myself. Probably have more context than Alex Kidanov.
Okay.
But this is not related to monitoring, isn't it?
It is not related. It is more related on fire. In case something is happening, where this is located, what are the addresses, and how
But deployment is something that it's good to have, but it's good to have written in somewhere.
For
Just
sure.
in case, but deployment should not be needed. Well, probably deployment after we have observability. Yeah, sure.
It might be needed for Mario and Sandy to check to do the health checks and to do all of it, like that type of things.
I think this is like a mix. Like, probably for the Ethereum nodes, we should document that because Mario set up the Ethereum nodes for the network. So probably he should write it. But I think that Max or Alex said they're gonna write the documentation for. I think it was Max even for just using Rainbow Bridge. But I think it's like a separate thing. Like, we have to like separate how to use the Rainbow Bridge and how to debug Rainbow Bridge and how to actually do the infrastructure stuff. But for the infrastructure stuff, I think we can write it down.
Okay.
Like, there's only the Ethereum node for now, and there's gonna be probably like an RPC endpoint just for bridge. Except that there's just the monitoring for the relayers.
Yeah, there is also
I don't have the
relayers.
context. Mario probably has the context more. I think this week he only did. So.
Yeah, when it comes to that, like, Ethereum nodes are very simple. Like, only thing which you need from that is IP address and ports. Like, that's not much of a
so
but when it comes to monitoring, I made a PR which enables monitoring of relayers. Like, each relayer has like a simple HTTP server which simply exposes metrics. Like, Marcelo can continue work on that. Like, I just added like client height and current chain height. Like, those are pretty okay metrics for now. Like, Marcelo can add whatever he sees fits. Like, I don't really understand what's happening inside on that node. And also with Ethereum nodes, there is to be added like the monitoring of balances, like for like I'm not sure like on the near side, but Ethereum side has it's already supported. I'm not sure about the near side. Most probably it's going to require some kind of a light service just to monitor the balances.
Yeah, I think so. So we would need to have some kind of script that periodically asks using near CLI the balance, and then we can trigger some actions. With
I
regards
won't
to
even use the
with regards,
CLI. I think a way better approach would be using the JavaScript SDK, because like we can wrap that, like it's due to the way Prometheus works, like it requires an HTTP server to scrape off metrics, so it would be way easier to do it that way than wrapping a near CLI then piping that somehow to the Prometheus.
sure, absolutely. So with regards to the PR that you mentioned earlier, where is this PR located?
It's in Rainbow Bridge.
It's in the bridge repo. Like the PR is
Okay.
okay. Like I tested it out manually. The metrics works, everything. But I messed something with the way the tests are run. Like all the tests are failing. Like I've been able to run them locally with success, but there's something I tripped in the CI. I'm not sure what.
Yeah, I'll be looking
Okay.
into this, and I haven't reviewed that PR yet, and I definitely need to add several more metrics. So yeah, I'll try to merge it this week. I mean tomorrow. Other thing we need, Mario, probably apart from collecting some metrics, is collecting the logs that are being produced by all our process. Is that possible to do?
Yeah, that's possible to do. Like currently, like you can see logs on the machine as in the syslog. Like Greylog is able to collect that, but unfortunately, Greylog is broken. Like it's in a semi-working state because it's overwhelmed by sheer volume of the logs we're sending into it. Like I need to work on some kind of scalable, like permanent solution because I already rescaled it manually twice and it's not working properly.
I see. So yeah, it would be very nice to have it because with metrics we can detect if the bridge is working fine or not, but it's hard to debug it with that. Not only that.
On the Greylog side, I think the biggest problem there was the manual parsing we did for the colors. And we can disable that now, and then like that should reduce the computation time. And
Yeah, it
Greylog
should, but I think
be fixed.
it's a problem even beyond that. I think the
I don't think so.
is also
I think
tripping.
I don't think. I think that's the main problem. I
No,
think
because the problem is elastic cache. Like you cannot query the data. There is too much data in it.
yeah, but that's because you were running the same thing on the same machine, and then the whole CPU gets killed by the regex processing.
No, it's not. It has
I think
plenty
we
of
can discuss this
Then-
offline. We can have
Yeah,
this.
Sandy,
Yeah.
Mario,
like-
let's
Yeah,
take
Yeah,
this
like
offline.
the machine is
offline.
over provisioned in every way. So
Yeah.
like it's a weird issue. It's something to be handled. But like from the infrastructure side, the collecting of logs is mostly taken care of. Like because they are not lost. They're syslog, and we just need to pipe them into Greylog for easier search. But even now, you can check it manually if you need.
Okay, so just to wrap this up, the previous 2 points, the book of deployments. Marcelo, Mario, are you okay with taking care about this? You can put it in any place that you like to put it. It may be Notion, it may be somewhere else.
Yeah, but what are the priorities there? Like we need monitoring, we need testing.
Yeah, so let's discuss the priorities probably offline because like we are in 2 minutes. Somebody
yeah,
else are going to come here. Yeah, but we for sure need to do this because like we have already lots of deployments. And on the monitoring side, yeah, Marcel, you said that you are going to take care of the PR on the monitoring metrics. Monitoring of balances. This is something that is yet to be discussed. Let's discuss this after the monitoring of metrics. But this is something that I see pretty important. and collecting of the logs. Let's do it even after the monitoring of the balances. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, great. Thanks everybody for staying with us. Let me quickly check whether we have any questions. No questions, unfortunately. So yeah, that's it. That's it for now. Thanks everybody, and stay tuned for the next sync.
Bye.
Hey everyone. I wonder if near runtime is going to happen today, given that Eugene and Max are out of the office. Bowen, do you have any update on that regard, or should we skip and go straight to the node interfaces sync?
Yeah, sounds like a good idea.
Okay, let me ping Bogdan and other folks. 1 sec.
Vlad, I'm going to make you the host and switch off.
Thanks.
So the stream is going to continue.
Cool.
Sorry, Bowen is going to be the host. Because of some strange reason, because like participants are just jumping around.
Okay. Hey guys. Hey Bogdan.
Hey
How are
there.
you?
Cool. Let me prepare my screen. Bowen, can you enable screen sharing for participants, please?
Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to do that. How do I? Do you know like what's the
Can you make me a host? That could be also a solution.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. You're the host now.
I see. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
All right. Welcome everybody to Node Interfaces Engineering Sync update of this week. I'm currently sharing the screen with our last week update. As always, you can find all the updates on GitHub under discussion board, and we have the structure here. Last week we had quite a beefy update. This week is going to be a little bit short. So I prepared a few notes here. I'd like to start with progress from Bogdan's side. He was trying to implement the accurate computation of circulating supply. And Bogdan, can you shed some light on the progress?
Hey everyone again. I guess I can't give any light because I'm totally in the dark. The darkest place in my life, I guess. All these circulation supplies. Currently, from my perspective, I guess I'm receiving some results because I had a lot of like sources of truth, and I'm not sure which one is the best. And I'm recalculating all the stuff using Rust just to ensure what is the correct answer for this. It's like the script written down on my knee. Other from that, there is a pull request for Explorer ready with all the calculations, but we think that calculations are a bit wrong. We have relied on the script we're using for looking up for lockup contracts, and we have refactored it a bit and found some errors there in the calculations. So not sure what's the final stuff, so we're using Rust for that. I hope to finish it like a week ago actually, but I hope to finish it for tomorrow after I can compare the calculation from Rust and from the JavaScript side. We have rewritten the script like copying all the logic from lookup contract method get locked amount. We have copied it to JavaScript to ensure that we're not missing anything. But after that, we received a bit different result. That's why I'm checking it.
Yeah, just to sum it up, it turned out that our account lookup implementation that was implemented in JavaScript previously had some discrepancies and the results were not reliable. We started with trying to fix it, but then quickly realized that we have the Rust version sitting right there, and we should essentially try to compare the results against it to confirm that the results are what they should be. And I was helping Bogdan, like we were both looking into the issue and trying to figure out the core inaccuracies we hit. And there were plenty of them, but the result is much closer to the projected value, but we still have some discrepancies in the matter of like a few millions. Moving on to other parts, I was also working on collecting various stats grouped by days for our town hall reports. The results will be available for internal team. You will still see them. The community will still be able to use the values as well, but we are working on the next iteration of Explorer with more charts of various stats anyway, so you don't need to use those hacky endpoints, but we at least have the queries now, and we can implement the charts later. As to the plans, I copied these from last week. I haven't had a chance to dive into them yet. This one is pretty pressing. We're blocking bridge on this implementation of JSON RPC to query receipt info, meaning they need receipt actions queried by receipt ID, not the execution outcome, just to be clear here. Epoch info is not blocking anyone right now, but given their JSON RPC endpoints, it makes sense to work on those in a single piece of a change. And I haven't finished the rework of Bosch project just yet. That's pretty much all the update on the node interfaces side. Do we have any discussions here?
I do want to ask, what is the issue with the bulk, security and supply calculation?
So it was quite problematic to get all the neat details about every single aspect. Like what, for example, just to name the very first item that we bumped into, there is a lockup information piece, which is called lookup duration. It took us a little bit of time to figure out that it's essentially the starting point when the lookup starts to gradually unlock. So it is.
No, the duration is the duration. The timestamp is when it starts.
It's not what the code in lookup contract is doing.
There is a problem that we had two fields there: lockup duration and the release duration. Lockup timestamp is when the lockup starting, but lockup duration and the release duration affects when after the starting date. And other stuff like it works like a cliff and other stuff. Sorry.
Yeah, well, you're right, Bowen. Lookup timestamp is the start when the lookup starts to unlock, but lookup duration. So sometimes it's none, which indicates that the lookup was created before the phase 2. And then the begin is calculated as transverse timestamp plus lookup duration. That's the starting point. And
okay, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Release duration, and it's it led to a lot of discrepancies where we were thinking that the whole there are some tokens were unlocked, but in fact they were not. Also, we realized that there is no way to ping the contracts outside of like without the owner.
They have to ping themselves. Yes.
Yeah.
It is by design, unfortunately.
Yeah. So this way we had to recreate the implementation on JS side, and to do that, like we need to do through the whole implementation, and JavaScript is not the safest language to like.
Yeah, but okay. But why? So why don't you do it in Rust, for example?
Because we need it for Explore.
Oh, I see.
We need to expose it through API.
I see.
On JS side. So I was considering to write like to make it a WASM file, but it's like an overkill. Also,
you have to
recreate some on account lookup is currently also using this broken implementation in JavaScript anyway. So.
I see, but you have to rewrite some like quite a bit of logic there, right? Or.
Yep.
Okay, that seems unfortunate.
Yep. And it's also like causing us a few like edge cases. And
while we were talking, my Rust script has finished, and the result is kind of not as expected. Rust says that the total locked amount is 660. Can I call the numbers publicly?
I mean, what is the difference between the projected result and the received one?
The difference is kind of huge, and in the other direction. Because currently, if I subtract the necessary like count amount from the result, I'll get less than 200 million.
Okay, let's take it offline.
Mm-hmm.
Any other?
Yeah, one other issue is what Josh kind of mentioned is that there seems to be some issue with the RPC on testnet, at least the load balancer part. I mean, it's not entirely clear what the issue is, but basically I have a node that's running separately, and he asked him to use my node, and then everything worked fine. But once he switched back to the load balancer, it just stops working with. So it returns multiple types of errors. Sometimes it returns bad gateway, which means the load balancer timed out. Sometimes it returns transaction expired. That usually means that some node is kind of like out of sync, or basically the node doesn't know the base block of the transaction. So it's not entirely clear what happened there, but it seems like it's not an issue with the kind of the node, the internals of near core. It's something more on the front end side, but I mean more on the RPC side, but it's still not clear to me what happened there.
What makes you believe that it's on RPC side rather than internally?
Because I guess it's I mean I don't actually have very strong evidence. It's mostly that because I asked him to run through my node and it all worked fine. But you're right, it could still be that those RPC.
What are the differences between your node and the ones that are deployed through NearUp?
That's a great question. I think my node just have more debugging information, and that's it.
Because when I gave one of the RPC nodes that are like from the main fleet, we observed that sometimes the response takes up to like 12 seconds to submit a transaction, which is ridiculously long. And like it has nothing to do with the load balancer. We tried to use the node directly. It just quite slow.
Oh, I see. You already tried to use the node directly.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So
but
with your node,
but-
it works fine, but with one of the near up, so it was near up 0 node, and it was quite slow to provide responses, and it felt like it is caused by the slowness of peer-to-peer communication, because they like general request reply is snappy, but fetching any endpoint which requires the data that needs to go through the peer-to-peer, for example, when it send a transaction, it takes quite a lot of time to get back with the like broadcast commit. Took 12 seconds.
I see.
And it's reproducible.
I see. So does other queries also take? Do other queries also take a long time?
Well, they take longer than I would expect. For example, viewing a contract, viewing account took around a second, half a second.
I see.
Which should be quite fast as well.
Okay. Yeah.
And I guess Sandy or Mario confirmed that the node does not seem to be busy from the monitoring side of things. Like the resources are not the constraint.
Yeah. Okay. I think. Okay. I'll double check again what's the version that my node is running.
Do you have anything more to discuss?
No.
Yeah, I guess that's all from my side. And I plan to finish these during this week and probably merge it next week. We also have, oh yeah, I remembered that we have a JSON RPC implementation for fetching contract binary implemented by Bo last week, but it's blocked by Eugene review, and given that he is out of the office, I guess next week as well, I propose we merge it through admin.
Okay. Can we do it?
Permission. I can do it.
Okay.
All right. That's all from my side. Does anybody know if the next calls are even happening? Like contract runtime probably doesn't happen.
Maybe
yet.
ask Nikolai so that he can actually do it right after this.
It seems like Bo and Nikolai are only two who responded to to the event. Let's pin them.
Okay, guys, I'm leaving.
Sure. Thanks for your work.
Bye, everyone.
Right.
Well, I gave you a host, so you can share the screen or give it to Nikolai when he's here. I need to jump off to another meeting.
Okay.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Hey guys, just FYI, Nikolai is not joining this meeting today, so it's on Yubo to run it.
Okay.
Just tell everyone what you've been
while I'm
doing
here.
and add it to some documents.
Let me find the meeting notes.
I haven't updated. It seems like
Our
for some
recent
time.
meeting notes here.
I think it's not 1911. I think it's 1912.
Oh, okay. But it's
No?
not yet 1912.
Oh, good point.
Yeah.
You can start discussion thread in the near core. We can also do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Contract work group.
Oh, just go to the near
Oh.
core repository. And start discussions. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, just like whatever, just new discussion, weekly update, and contract runtime. Yeah.
What is the format of other? Okay. So is Volume here?
It doesn't seem like. Let me tell.
I'm here.
Okay. Volume, can you give your update?
Yeah. So we finally got the stable PR for WASMer merged, and PTOR found some issue with it, but I think we've investigating. It seems that it was some error with Nightly itself, because I had updated the Nightly version with the update, and he had to change the way he did linking, and it was able to still compile for him locally under release. And I have another PR that that's ready to merge, just finishing up some things so that we can get the profile and data. And I have another PR in the SDK RS to use that. There's an issue reported by Mike using the simulator. He has a simple contract that has an AVL tree for just storing key value pairs of strings in their hashes. And he found that running it would crash, And so I looked into it, and indeed, after running it like a third of the 2,000 words, my memory was for the process was up to 60 gigabytes, and it was eaten into my swap space. So I just from Bo suggested using Valgrind, so I have got that working, and I'm investigating where the memory leak is happening, because it's a pretty quick memory leak. And the two places that I've seen so far are each time you run, you create a new try from the store. That seems to be one spot that's hot, and also WASMer. So I haven't implemented caching, or haven't used the caching that's available at this in the simulators to make sure that you only compile contracts once. I think that might be a cause of it. Still investigating that further. And then otherwise, yeah, just SDK AS has a PR that's almost merged, just discussing the naming of how you would deal with change methods in a singleton class. And so using Max's advice, I added an import that you can manually commit the state of the contract, and as well as then having a decorator. I couldn't both be the same name because TypeScript doesn't like it, and so the IDE would complain, since the parameters for the decorator versus the function were different. But otherwise, it's tested and seems ready. And yeah.
Did I miss another PR you mentioned in?
There's a PR in the Rust SDK for the profiling data. Yeah, but that's dependent on the near core. And then I also looked into trying to publish the crates that the simulator depends on, and it looks like the only thing that's really preventing it is the dependency on RocksDB. But talking yesterday with Bo and Nikolai, it seems that we can, since we're not using the single-threaded variant anymore, we can just write directly on RocksDB crate, and then that means that then we can start to publish the necessary crates.
Okay.
And then there's one reorganization that I'm almost done with, so that then we can have the profile data for view calls as well as function calls or change calls.
Got it. As for the memory leak, I think you mentioned yes, it could be like creating try, it did not reclaim, and the contracts being compiled more than once because of the cache is not properly cached compiled once in the simulator. Is there any other findings about the huge memory usage?
No, I mean, I'm still figuring out reading the output of the Valgrind tool. So perhaps maybe we can sync up later so you can help me. But those are the ones that stuck out when I made like a higher threshold of when parsing the data. You can choose like what percentage. And so those are the ones that stuck out at above like 10%.
Cool. that's also that's a lot of work from you. So what I did this week was some EVM side parameter parsing and re-encoding work. That's more difficult than expected because we was assume some arguments passing to the runner to be RLP encoded, but actually RLP encoded is different from ABI encode, and we need it to be RLP encoded so we can decode it to generate a structural hash with EIP 712. So I did is doing both RLP decode and then re-encode with ABI so our EVM runner can take it. And another thing I did yesterday and today is try using Bosch serialize and deserialize to replace the artifact serializer in WASM 0.17. I mostly get it compiled, and I think I need to verify it. Indeed, it's covered by some test cases. So then later today, I can use the Bosch serialized version of WASM and run the cost estimator to see whether it gives a performance increase. Olam, do you remember what Nikolai is doing, mentioned in yesterday's meeting?
I'm sorry, I was muted. Yeah, he said finishing up the model for IO cost.
Oh yeah. And I think there's one important update from last week's meeting that we had fixed the P0 issue because of the feature leak, thanks to Eugene.
Nice.
Is there anything else that we are not mentioned?
So can you explain what was the bug with the assembly script that I heard of? I heard that there was some there was even like an attempt to write a Fibonacci program and it didn't execute correctly, which is why our EVL tree was also not running correctly at all. Is it?
I'm not sure about the financial application that you're talking about, but we did find a earlier this week. I was working with Josh because he had an example contract with the AVL tree, and he found that it was that when there was substrings, it was saying that even if you had AB already in there and you tried to insert A, it would say it was already present. And we tracked down the issue to the string compare in the standard library for assembly script, and we reported the issue at the minimum example, showing that it was such that two strings, if you had that case with a substring, it was never less than, greater than, or equal to. So that's already been merged and fixed by Max.
So given that we have bugs like that in assembly script, which seem to me like the bugs of like a very, very early day project, should we stop using assembly script entirely?
I mean, I would say no. I think that given the speed at which it was fixed, is shows that they're responsive. But I do think that it means that there should be more testing, and yeah, there. But this is less of a language issue and more of a language implementation issue, right? Like it's the standard library versus if you compare operations in general are fine in assembly script.
Oh yeah, I don't have concerns with the assembly script spec. I'm concerned with the compiler and the standard library.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think this is less of a compiler issue than the standard library. Yeah, I think that it means that we need to do a lot. Have a big push for more testing and more coverage for these types of things, because this particular bug was one that seems trivial that they should have caught, and they didn't have the proper test cases for. But yeah, I mean, I'm still hesitant to say this issue is so bad that we should cut and run. But seeing as there's still an upward trajectory on the popularity of the language, and it's growing exponentially. So if we leave now, we would miss out on being part of that story. Not so. I think maybe we should just highlight to people that that it's a track, but not that there's big disclaimer when it comes to working with it. And again, it also speaks to the aspect and the testing frameworks that I've helped make in assembly script that caught it, right? So if with simulation testing and just good testing, unit testing, you should be able to catch these types of issues before deploying your contract.
The problem is that the EVL tree existed for quite a long time in assembly script, right? So how many months we already have it, and people are using assembly script.
Yeah, but this wasn't the AVL's issue. Is the
I understand, but the problem is that we have already usage of assembly script. Other organizations have usage of assembly script, right? We are talking about like all these big companies that use assembly script right now, and none of them caught this very trivial bug. Like none of them compared strings when one of them was a prefix or like substring of another string. This both shows that it's not actually used. If such like bug exists, no one compared to strings when one of them is a substring of another, and that shows that there's no actual like real usage. Unless people are not using strings in assembly script.
Yeah. I mean, again, it is a new language. I mean, it's we're still in the part of the exponential growth before it really takes off. So, the coverage for testing in general, I'm sure this is lacking, especially compared to more mature languages. So, yeah, I mean, again, I think that as long as we're clear about the limitations and the immaturity of the language, it shouldn't, we should continue to offer tools like the simulation testing where you can, try to, find those the best testing coverage for your application possible. But yeah, I mean, it was a sad thing to find out. I'll tell you.
Simulation testing is not meant to find like absolute everything in the stack, right? So we don't expect to have a simulation test on a contract and be able and claim that therefore the compiler is also tested. And
No. I mean, but yeah, I mean, but then it's also in conjunction with the unit tests, and I mean,
so what is going to be our recommendation for people who come and ask about assembly script? Do we say use it but not in production ready applications? I mean, previously we're saying that don't use it for financial applications, but given that there are issues like that, it seems like we wouldn't use it even for anything that has any value.
Yeah, I mean, I would. Again, I still don't see this even though this issue was, an embarrassing one for the language. There's still, the scope of which, for instance, with the amount of tests we have for the SDK, unit test wise, like, and as more companies start to use, testing and find issues, it will improve. So it's, yeah, I mean, again, I would say there's always a disclaimer when you have an immature tool chain, and yeah, I mean, I would say you can use it in production, but make sure that you are well confident in its and I still think it's for, say, small, the smaller the surface area of your contract is in assembly script, the more easily you can to make guarantees about it. And the other thing that we haven't really showcased is that with cross-contract testing, you can have core elements that are in Rust, but then have other parts of the application that are in assembly script that are less critical. So
that sounds an interesting idea. I didn't know.
Yeah, and it's again, I think once we can get this better sort of ABI similar to Ethereum, where I can depend on a Rust project from assembly script and have this interact cross contract call experience, it'll be then we can really start to push it for production, because then it just becomes a nice front way to interact with Rust if you're a new developer whose Rust is going to be too much of a step. And with this new PR for the singleton, I think that's going to be another good stepping stone to go from this object-oriented assembly script singleton class to a Rust contract that has a little bit more, seems like a little bit more magic to it. And then so I think for educational purposes, it's still a good thing to have around. Because bridging the gap to Rust is, I think, our biggest challenge, given the research that Sharif and Corwin have done.
So do you think that the research was actually unbiased the way it was done? Because like what I read in this research is that they put assembly script and TypeScript in the same bucket, which is not true. Like when we had people coming to us and thinking that they can write in TypeScript, only to realize that the language is not TypeScript. I mean, we had a person in our company spending several months implementing a very complex contract in TypeScript, only to realize that apparently he cannot link TypeScript libraries and expect the contract to compile to WebAssembly. And so
yeah, I mean, at that time you were still calling it TypeScript runtime.
Yeah, I mean, the survey was actually about TypeScript versus Rust, not AssemblyScript versus Rust. The correct formulation should have been TypeScript versus AssemblyScript versus Rust, and then it would have been a fair comparison.
Yeah, but I still think from like a language level, if you are comfortable with TypeScript, moving to AssemblyScript is just is a very simple step. I mean, you have to understand your limitations, but that's different than understanding, say, the syntax of Rust and other things that could be a blocker for learning this new implementation language.
From your discussion, I'm thinking AssemblyScript contract is only like good for learning or educational purposes. When someone is familiar with TypeScript, he can get started easily, but they should not consider using it in production. Like an example Max given, they're trying to link and import some complicated TypeScript libraries. That's not for AssemblyScript are not for that, because it's not 100% compatible with TypeScript. So we should like market it as at least for now only for getting started and writing some casual or hobby projects. And maybe when it's getting more mature or like more widely adopted in the WebAssembly community, then we can like still market it as assembly and not TypeScript, since I think it's not going to be TypeScript even in the future.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly the fact that TypeScript still relies on JavaScript runtime in the end is going to be always sort of limiting factor. But yeah, I mean, as WebAssembly matures and more features are added that could make it more, have more parity with TypeScript, then we could go that route. But I agree. I think that as education, hobby, and also prototyping, if you have a project and you want to get new devs to start working on it and just trying to come up with some prototype, that you're going to have a lot more success with AssemblyScript. And I think when we do have this parity with Rust in the for instance, the singleton PR that I have, then if you write it in that manner, then translating to Rust becomes much simpler, because the design is very similar. So
what do you think, Max? Should we like give some like 20% of bandwidth on AssemblyScript and marketing it as like good for hobby and learning smart contracts, and maybe also prototyping for now?
So the team that Eugene is leading, which is going to be called Berry Pickers or whatever, they are basically going to be leading the discussion on the AssemblyScript and how it's going to be used in different tools. For instance, our current Create Near app initializes by default AssemblyScript contract, which is something that also needs to be discussed, given that now we know that AssemblyScript is not production ready. In terms of the bandwidth, that will define the bandwidth, right?
Yeah.
If we know that AssemblyScript is just to be like a gateway language for the contracts, then do we need to like further develop it right now when we're working on this functionality of AssemblyScript, like was payable, not payable, like various performance optimization, new features? If we know that people are not supposed to stay on AssemblyScript for a long time, then who do we expect to use these features then? And we are actually making a disservice to our partners when we tell them, go ahead, write it in AssemblyScript, when we know that it's basically the thing about AssemblyScript is this language, its relation to WASM is, in terms of the readiness, is very similar to other languages that besides Rust. Like we tried Python, we tried, there is Go, there is C#, and we can also make them educational languages, right? People have been asking us. Some people are asking about, like, what about C#? Can we write contracts in C#? So we should think of assembly script as language like that, a language that can be compiled to WebAssembly. It can be used as a smart contract, but it's just a nice to have language. And whether it's like how much time we spend on it, it's something that we need to discuss in our entire organization. Need to start discussion, and I thought Mike started it already, but if you haven't, we should. And also decide together what we do in terms of how do we frame it in our documentation and marketing material and so on.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. I think there's at least some conversations with app layer team. Like Vlad is very a fan on assembly script. So if having discussion on the entire organization, the conclusion may be different.
Yeah, I mean, it needs to be the entire organization, but we also need to keep in mind that we can love language to death. Like we can be like in love with the language. If it's not production ready, we cannot use it for production. Like it doesn't matter how beautiful is the spec, how great is the idea behind it. If it's not objectively production ready, then we cannot say to people, you please use it in production. Like this is not the matter of how much we like the language.
Got it. So I think
I wouldn't say it's not better than WASM ready than Python and C#. I mean, like it's not it's not on the same level with Rust for sure. That's
not on the same level on Rust. Like it's like a second tier when compared to WASM. WASM.
Yeah. All right, cool guys. I think we ran out of time. So thanks everyone.
Yeah.
For joining. Thanks Willem and Bo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.